So we'll have a seat and just kind of check in this morning. Taking a moment to feel your sit bones connecting downward. Feel your spine rising up from between the sit bones. So you're lengthening through the crown of the head, relaxing the shoulders, letting them slide down the back. Closing the eyes, perhaps taking a deep breath in and a big exhale through the mouth. Feel into your body. So usually we're aware pretty quickly of anything that might be tight or stiff. We frequently have to put a little effort into recognizing all the parts of us that are doing well and feeling good. So I'd like you to take a moment and acknowledge everything that's working perfectly in your body this morning. And then begin to breathe a little deeper and slower. Now, as you're tuning into the sound of your own Ujjayi breathing, check in with your thoughts. Check in with your emotions. Notice what your energy is like and how connected you feel. And then let's bring palms together in front of the heart. Take a moment and set your intention for your practice this morning. When you're clear about your intention, take a deeper breath in. Big exhale. Let's go straight into downward facing dog. Just kind of pedal your feet a little bit if you need to. Move your body if you need to stretch into the shoulders a little bit. And then when you've kind of eased into it, go ahead and spread the palms, press the hips back and the heels down. Let's go ahead and walk the feet forward, keeping the knees bent. Find your ragdoll up at the front end of your mat. So you have a little bit of a bend in the knees, or it could be a lot, that's up to you. Neck is totally relaxed. Head is just dangling at the end of your spine. You're still breathing those deep, beautiful Ujjayi breaths. And then inhale, reach the arms all the way up and overhead. And exhale, palms together in front of the heart. Just taking a moment to really connect the soles of your feet down to the mat. And beneath that, the floor, and beneath that, the earth. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale and look up halfway. Exhale, back down. Step back with your left foot. So you have a right foot forward lunge. Just hold that for a couple of breaths, letting the hips sink down towards the mat. Drop your left knee down, raise the arms up and overhead. Tilt your pelvis back, lift the rib cage, let your hips move forward. So you want to feel this on the front of the left hip. Go and bring your left hand down to the mat. Put your right hand on the inside of the right knee. Roll to the outside edge of your right foot and apply a little bit of pressure. Extend your right leg fully. Say good morning to that right hamstring. And then step it back to plank position and just hold your plank for a couple of breaths. Let's give the core ample opportunity to wake up and check in. So this first time we'll lower down knees, chest, and chin. And then just untuck the toes and flatten out so you can slide your arms forward and lengthen your spine in Sphinx. So if you really want to traction the low back, you have to have your glutes disengaged, right? If those muscles are gripping, then the spine can't lengthen. So if you let your big toes touch and your heels drop apart, then your glutes relax. And when you pull with your forearms, you'll have some spinal length. And then let's go to downward facing dog. From your down dog, pardon me, step forward with your left foot. Hold your lunge for a couple of breaths here. And then we'll go ahead and drop the right knee down. Bring the arms up and overhead. Let the pelvis tilt back. Hips are moving forward. So we're looking for sensation on front of the right hip. Right hand's going to come down to the mat. Left hand goes to the inside of the left knee. Roll to the outside edge of that left foot and then go ahead and apply some pressure till you feel your left hip. Left inner thigh perhaps, left outer hip perhaps. Extend your left leg. Flex the ankle and toes, lengthen your spine. And then step forward to a standing forward bend. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up and overhead. Exhale, palms together in front of the heart. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale and look up. Exhale, back down. Step back with your right foot this time. And then just keep your right hand on the mat. Take your left hand up towards the ceiling. Bring your left hand down inside your left foot. Feel free to drop the right knee if you need to. Go ahead and come onto the right forearm and perhaps both. Try and keep your left knee hugged in towards your torso. So try not to let that left leg splay out. Hands on either side of the left foot, gaze forward, begin to straighten your left leg. And then bend the left knee, bring the arms up and overhead, and let the hips drop down. Slightly deeper stretch for that right hip flexor. Hands to the mat, step it back to plank. Take your vinyasa your way. Lengthen in down dog. Then we're going to step forward with the right foot. Keep your left hand planted. Take your right hand up towards the ceiling. Right hand comes down inside right foot. See if you can get onto the left forearm, perhaps both. And again, please try and keep that right inner thigh hugging in towards the torso. Hands on either side of the right foot, gaze forward, begin to straighten your right leg. And then bend the right knee, arms come up and overhead. Let your hips drop. Open up that left hip flexor a little more. Hands down, step forward to your standing forward bend. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, palms together in front of the heart. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, look up and lengthen. And then back down. You're going to step back with your left foot. Spin the heel flat. Adjust your hips as necessary. We're coming up into warrior one. Just take a couple of breaths. Get yourself aligned. Hips should be rotating forward as much as possible. Interlace your fingers behind your back. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Keeping right knee bent initially, see if you can fold forward. Right shoulder perhaps resting on right thigh. Neck relaxing, arms reaching up for humble warrior. Come all the way back up, keeping fingers interlaced, straightening your right leg, keeping the right hip pulled back for hip alignment. Extend your spine out over a straight right leg. Come all the way back up. I'd like you to bend your right knee again, and then lift off into a warrior three variation. Left foot back down, release the arms up, warrior one. Take your hands to the mat, flow through a vinyasa. After you've had a moment to really lengthen in your down dog, step your left foot forward, spin your right heel flat, and come up into warrior one on your left side. And just take a couple of breaths, get yourself set. Interlace the fingers behind the back, squeeze the shoulder blades together. If you can, fold forward. Left shoulder perhaps resting on left thigh. Relax your neck, reach the arms up. Humble warrior. Come back up, keep fingers interlaced. Straighten your left leg, keep the hips squared off at the front of the mat as much as possible. Lengthen and extend over your straight left leg. Come back up, bend your left knee, and then use that to lift off, extending right leg behind you, warrior three. Right foot goes back down, arms are up and overhead. And then take your hands to the mat and flow through vinyasa. Stretch it out in your down dog. Plug those hands into the floor. Reach those heels down. And then you're going to either walk or jump forward to a standing forward bend. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, palms together in front of the heart. Take your feet to the distance that works for you for yogic squat. Heels are flat, toes should be pointing forward today. Please remember, your feet are not super glued to the floor. Play with the distance. So it's really common for us to get caught up in always doing exactly the same thing. If you can't keep your feet straight in a yogic squat, play with the distance. If your feet are too wide, you're not going to get down without splaying the feet. Maybe you need to take a narrower stance, right? So just play with it. Don't get caught up in movement patterns. Today is a brand new day. So let's play like it's the first time we've ever done a yogic squat. Heels are flat, toes are forward. You can support your weight on your knees or thighs. You got to honor knee issues. Otherwise, you go as far down as you comfortably can. Let the pelvis drop. Let the heart lift, and you breathe. Inhale, come all the way back up. Exhale, bring your feet together. Bring your palms together in front of your heart. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale and look up halfway. And exhale back down. We're going to step back with the left foot. Spin the heel flat. This time we're coming into warrior two. Once you've got your alignment, interlace your fingers behind your back, squeeze your shoulder blades together. We're going to try and fold right down the midline, keeping right knee bent. So it's almost like you're trying to drift your torso to the left. Relax your neck if possible. Rotate back towards your right foot and release both hands down to the inside of your right foot. By the way, your left heel is still flat. Your right arm is going to reach underneath your right leg, and you plant your hand on the floor. Even if you do nothing else here but adjust your hips, you'll get a great hip opener. Right now, the hips are aligned with the long side of the mat, like warrior two. Keep your feet where they're at, but begin to pull right hip back, left hip forward, as though you are aligning your hips for warrior one. You'll start to feel it in your right hip. If you want more, grab your right ankle with your left hand and start to pull right shoulder and maybe even the head underneath your right thigh. Take 3 more breaths. Unwind the hands, one hand on either side of your right foot. Swivel up onto the left toes. Drop your left knee to the mat. Walk the right foot over towards the left side of the mat. You're going to let the right shin find your mat. The left leg starts to slide back until you feel this in your right glute, which is your right buttock. If you can, you come onto your forearms. Some of you will be flexible enough to flatten out. You work at the level that's best for you right now. Don't worry about what you've ever done in the past. Today is a new day, and we just meet our body where it's at in the moment, and then you just breathe. Two more breaths here. We're going to come back up onto the hands. Your left hand is going to go in the center of the mat. If you can, you're going to reach back with your right hand and get your left foot or ankle and pull it towards your right glute. So what you should feel now is front of the left thigh, maybe the front of the left hip. Let's get a little extra stretch. Take a couple of breaths. And then unwind straight to downward facing dog. Stretch for a moment. And then go ahead and shift into plank and take your vinyasa. From this downward facing dog, we're going to step forward with the left foot, spin the right heel flat, coming up into warrior two on the left side. Interlace your fingers behind your back. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Try and fold right down the midline of the body. Keep that left knee bent. Maybe even drift your torso a little to the right. From here, we're going to rotate towards the left foot. Bring both hands to the floor inside that left foot. Your right heel should still be flat. You're going to take your left hand under your left leg and plant the hand. Now, we adjust the hips. Left hip pulls back, right hip pulls forward. The feet don't move, just the hips move. You can stay here or you can grab at your left ankle with your right hand and begin to pull as though you would take your left shoulder under your left thigh. Hands on either side of the left foot, swivel onto your right toes. Drop the right knee down and walk that left foot over towards the right side of the mat. Let your left shin find the mat and then slide your right leg back to come into pigeon on the left, preferably coming onto forearms or perhaps even flattening out. On your next inhale, you're coming back up onto your hands. If you can, you're going to put your right hand in the center of the mat, reach back with your left hand, try and get that right foot or ankle, and you're gently pulling the foot towards your left glute. You should feel this in the front of your right thigh, maybe even the right hip. And release out straight into downward facing dog. Stretch it out. And then when you're ready on an inhale, you'll shift into plank and continue to follow your breath through your vinyasa. From this downward facing dog, I'd like you to take your right leg back, bend your knee, roll your hip bone open. And then you're going to swing your right leg underneath you, but you're going to keep it straight. Flex the ankle, slide the leg up as much as you comfortably can towards your left armpit, and then just lower down like you would for chaturanga. See if you can come onto your stomach. See if you can extend your arms out like a T. See if maybe your left hand can grab your right calf or ankle or foot. Keep the right leg straight, keep the foot flexed. You should feel this in your right hip, your right hamstring. Hands back down, shoot it straight back, Three-legged dog, bend the knee, roll the hip bone open again. Right leg comes underneath for your second pigeon. So this time the right knee is bent. Left leg slides back. See if you can nestle down a little deeper in this second Ekapada Raja Kapotasana. Straight into downward facing dog, pedal it out. When you're ready, shift into plank, take your vinyasa. So from this down dog, we take the left leg up, then we bend the knee, we roll the hip bone open, open, open. Left leg swings underneath us, but it's straight. We flex the ankle, slide it up towards the right armpit, and lower down to our stomachs, extending arms out to the side like a T. Maybe grabbing left calf or foot with the right hand. Bring your hands back underneath you, shoot straight back. Three-legged dog, bend the knee, roll the hip bone open again, stretch, and swing your left leg underneath you again, this time bent for your second pigeon on the left. See if you can get a little deeper down this time. And then we go straight back to downward facing dog, pedal the feet a little bit. Find your lengthened spine. Shift into plank and take a vinyasa. From this downward facing dog, you can either walk or jump forward to a standing forward bend. Big inhale, arms up. Exhale, palms together in front of the heart. Take your stance again for your yogic squat. Maybe you experiment again. Maybe you go narrower, maybe you go wider. Feet point forward. Try and really work on satya, truthfulness, keeping feet parallel, even if you don't go as deep as you normally do. And then start to drop the tailbone to whatever degree you comfortably can. Hips are heavy, heart is lifted, and you're breathing. Now, depending upon where your backside is, if you're pretty close to the floor, let your buns come down and extend your legs for Dandasana. If you're a long way from the floor, put your hands down and come to your seated position. So I want you to find your sit bones, extend the legs, activate the legs. That means flex your ankles and toes and engage the muscles. Hands right behind your backside, push into the floor for a very straight spine. Pull your head back so it's balanced on top of your spine. Take a moment and really feel into your body. What's different from when you checked into your body at the beginning of class? Notice if there's anything that's any different. Check back in with your breath. It should still be a deep, even Ujjayi breath. If it's not, reconnect to it. And then double check thoughts, emotions, energy, and sense of connection. And then we're just gonna keep the right leg straight. Bring the left foot to the inside of the right thigh. Lean out over the right leg. Come on up, pick your left foot up and bring it on top of your right thigh, just above the knee. Flex the ankle, lean out again. And then we're gonna come up from this and keep the left ankle crossed. Hands are right behind the backside. You lift the chest. So you want a very straight spine here. Bend your right knee. Keep your left ankle flexed. So it just depends on your level of sensation. If you need to scooch up towards your right heel to feel something in your left glute, go for it. If you would prefer to grab the right shin so that you can get an even, straighter spine, go for it, but it's not necessary. Hands on the ground are a great place to stay. Take a couple more breaths. And then we're gonna put the hands back on the floor if they're not still there. I want you to walk your right foot over to the left. You don't want it up underneath your left thigh. You want it out here underneath your left knee. So both ankles are very sharply flexed. And if you look down, your shins are vertically stacked on top of each other. Even if the left one is higher, like mine is this morning. But it's okay, we're gonna breathe them down. So if you need to, keep your hands behind you. If you can, you bring your arms in front of you and perhaps find your way to the forearms. If that's really easy, then your right hand is behind you and your left tricep is in the arch of your left foot. Take a few breaths. Just 2 more breaths and you're out of it. Now, what we're gonna do from here is just tuck that right foot a little closer up underneath the left thigh and let the left foot come flat outside the right knee. So now we're in position to twist to the left hand behind you, either hugging the left knee in or bringing the right arm outside of that left thigh. Twist and look over your left shoulder. Try and get that sensation of compression in your midsection. Unwind it all. Extend your legs out. Reconnect to your sit bones. Give those legs a little wiggle. Whew, reconnect with your breathing if you need to. Keep your left leg straight. Right foot to the inside of the left thigh. Let's lean out over the left leg. Go ahead and come on up from that. Pick your right ankle up, flex it to bring it on top of your left thigh, just above the knee. Lean out again. From here, we bring hands right behind the backside. Push into the floor for a straight spine. Bend your left knee. Again, it just depends upon your level of sensation. So maybe the hands stay on the ground and you just keep a straight spine and this is it. This is good. If you prefer, grab the left shin. Use it as a tool to help lengthen the spine even more. So what I don't want you to do is grab your left shin and then hunch it around your back. It defeats the purpose. The idea is to have the straightest spine imaginable and feel sensation in your right glute, right buttock. From here, hands are back on the ground if they're not already. Left foot walks over underneath right knee. So again, your shins are parallel and vertically stacked. You have an open triangular space if you look down, both ankles are flexed. You're either just gonna stay here and breathe, you're gonna try and lean forward and get your forearms to the floor, or perhaps left hand behind you, right elbow into the arch of the right foot. Just 2 more breaths. And then from here, we just tuck the left foot a little more underneath us. Let the right foot slide all the way over outside the left near thigh. Right foot is flat. Now we're in position to twist to the right. Straight spine, compression in the midsection. Unwind, extend both legs out. Give them a good wiggle. Excellent. From here, just like that, you get to roll onto your back, hug your knees in, and rock side to side for a moment. You've certainly earned it this morning. We're gonna go ahead and take the right thigh really tightly over the left thigh, super tight crossing of the legs. So you can either just hug your knees in, and if you're feeling it in your right glute, you're good. If you can, reach down and grab the feet or ankles, open up at the knee joint to about 90 degrees, and then pull a little bit on your feet or ankles. So the idea is that you feel this in your right glute. It's slightly different than the other glute stretches we've done. So let's just breathe into it. And again, wherever our body is at this morning, it's good. That's what we're working with. Release your feet or ankles or knees, but keep the legs tightly crossed. Left foot's going to go back down onto the mat. You're going to drop your knees to the left, right arm opening out to the right. So this is a pretty deep spinal twist. If it's too deep for you, uncross your legs and it will make it a little gentler. Head turns to the right if that's okay with your neck, and you breathe. On your next inhale, bring the legs up. Keep your knees crossed. Pick your left foot back up off the mat. Let's draw 3 big circles in the air with our knees in each direction. So 3 clockwise, 3 counterclockwise. When you're done with that, you can uncross your legs, hug the knees in, rock if you feel like it. And then we'll just take left thigh tightly over right. Again, you can hug the knees in, or if possible, grab the feet or ankles, flex them, open the knees to 90 degrees, and apply pressure. From here, keeping your knees tightly crossed, put your right foot back down in the middle of the mat, drop both knees to the right, left arm opening out to the left. Remember, if you need to modify and uncross your legs, that's absolutely okay. On your next inhale, you're gonna bring the legs back up. Keep your knees crossed, pick the right foot back up, and we go 3 big circles in each direction. As you finish that out, you can uncross your legs, hug the knees in, and rock side to side. So you get to choose your inversion today. Just whatever makes you happy, whatever truly actually makes your body happy. So whether that's bridge pose or shoulder stand or plow pose or a headstand or even a handstand, whatever makes you happy. That could even include putting your hips on a block for a restorative bridge or legs up the wall. You choose, but we're going to hold it for 6 really slow breaths. So whatever you decide to do, make sure you can hold it for a bit. Off you go. When you've had your 6 breaths, you can just come out of whatever inversion you chose to be in. Give your knees a quick squeeze and then grab your feet for a little bit of happy baby finishing, right? So we're finishing off our hip-centered practice, just kind of exploring, moving around, seeing what feels good, seeing what feels better, seeing what might still need a tiny bit of attention. And if you do find something that needs some attention, go ahead and address it here. It's fine to do an additional asana or pose if you need one. When you feel like you're ready, let your feet come down to the mat. We're going to just let the soles of the feet touch. The knees are going to drop open. Rest in this restorative pose for a couple of breaths. So this is reclined bound ankle. And then the next time you breathe in, tilt your pelvis back so that it removes the natural arch in your low back. Just keep pressing your low back into the mat while you breathe normally. And then the next time you exhale, just relax and you'll notice that natural lumbar curve comes back. One more time, deep inhale, flatten your back, press, press, press into the mat. So this is lengthening the low back muscles. And then exhale and release. Begin to extend the legs. Separate the feet a little or a lot. Remember, don't get caught up in your patterns, right? Actually check in. Maybe your feet want to be closer together. Maybe they want to be farther apart. You find the perfect place for right now, today. And then relax the legs, relax the glutes. Relax your back and your shoulders and your jaw and your forehead. Close your eyes. Take a really deep inhale through the nose. Big exhale through the mouth. Just start softening and letting go. So it's really, every time we come to Shavasana, it's an act of faith because it's an act of surrender. We have faith that the earth is going to hold us up and gravity is going to hold us down. So we surrender muscular tension. We have faith in our autonomic nervous system to breathe for us, so we surrender control of the breath. We have faith that our lives are going to flow the way they are meant to flow. And if we're lucky, we're able to surrender control of that, because the truth is the control is an illusion. We have no control. We can control how we react to things if we're able to gain some semblance of control over our thoughts. And that's really the first aphorism in Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, translates as yoga controls the fluctuations of the mind. We strive to watch our thoughts, to recognize that they are not true or real most of the time, and we learn to control them. And by controlling our thoughts, we can control our reactions. That's really about all we have control over. And so we learn to surrender, and this pose, Shavasana, truly is the embodiment of surrender. And in order to fully surrender, you must have faith in something. So I want you to just examine yourself during your Shavasana today. Do you have any resistance to surrendering? Is there anything physically that doesn't want to let go? Is there a mental construct or belief that you just can't surrender or let go of? Is it an obstacle? Are there emotions tied up with that? Is there some place that you're holding energy, impeding the flow of energy? And is there some way that you can surrender that and just let things flow and go? Just examine yourself. Svadhyaya, study of the self. And see if perhaps you can surrender more deeply. Ishvara Pranidhana. Notice if you get caught up in a particular thought or idea. And if so, recognize it as yet another opportunity to surrender. Surrender the thought, surrender the attachment, come back into observation of the self and any obstacles you might have in any realm to complete surrender. And finally, I want you to take note of how your body feels right now. And I want you to realize that this is the physical representation of how surrender should feel. When you surrender thoughts and ideas, when you surrender control, when you surrender into deep faith, it should feel just like your body feels right now. Begin to move your fingers and toes a little bit. Begin to deepen your breath. When you're ready, take a deeper inhale. Spread the fingers and toes. Exhale through the mouth, relax them. Even deeper breath in, just stretch through arms and legs. Exhale and relax. Bend your knees. Roll to your right side. Press yourself up into sitting. As you come to your seated position, find that same straight, aligned spine that you had at the very beginning of your practice. And I want you to just take the opportunity to check in. How does your body feel? And how does that compare to the very beginning of practice? What about your mind, your heart, your energy, and your sense of connection? Just go ahead and roll your shoulders back a couple of times. And let them slide down the back and stay there. Make sure your head feels like it's drawn back on top of the spine. Then I want you to tilt your chin up towards the ceiling. Take your bottom lip up over your top lip like a bad underbite, kind of like a bulldog. And then relax your jaw, let your chin slowly come all the way down till it's resting on your chest. While your head is just hanging forward, slowly, slowly move it side to side as though you're looking at the floor and saying no. And then bring the head back up to the center. Tiny circles in the air with your nose. And then change directions. And then just let the head remain balanced on top of your straight, aligned spine. So our breath work today is going to be a variation on Surya Vedana, which is a solar breath. We will be inhaling through the right nostril and exhaling through the left nostril every single breath. However, today, you will not be using your hands to block your nostrils. I know it seems very odd, sounds crazy. It's not. Trust me, try it. See what happens. You just have to focus and pay attention to your breathing. You may do whatever feels appropriate with your hands, palms up, palms down, any mudra that you feel drawn to, go for that. With a straight spine and the eyes closed, I want you to try and take very slow, deep inhales and exhales. In through the right nostril and out through the left. Off you go. Inhaling through the right, always. Exhaling through the left, always. One more breath like this. And just let your breathing return to normal. Stay still. Remain with the eyes closed and just pay attention for a few breaths, just noticing how you feel overall. Just slowly begin bringing palms together in front of the heart. So we take a moment in gratitude. So many things to choose from when it comes to gratitude, always. Truly, we are so fortunate. Today, let's be grateful for the ability to surrender, for faith that we are where we should be, how we should be, that everything is actually perfect exactly as it is. Just let that sink in for a moment. You are perfect exactly where you are. There's a line in a poem by the Persian poet Hafiz that says, "This place where you are right now, God has circled on the map for you." So just knowing that exactly where you are and how you are is how it should be. Take one more deep breath in through your nose. Big sigh through the mouth. Palms together at our foreheads reminds us to be present, reminds us to see the things we should be grateful for. Palms to the lips reminds us to speak our truth and to speak our thanks. Palms to the heart reminds us to keep our hearts open, to always be kind, compassionate, loving, and grateful. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. Namaste.